on the social channels. James, man, we have 8 games here on a Wednesday evening, starting at 6:35. A split slate day. We have 5 games on the early slate over on DraftKings, but we're covering the main slate here on DraftKings, so should be a pretty good one. We're looking at the pitching here, some decent starting pitching on the slate. Maybe a game with weather issue. We're monitoring the rain there in Philadelphia for this one. Could get knocked down a game, but all in all, a pretty solid slate for us. We generally consider 6 to 8 games to kind of be our sweet spot here.
Yeah, definitely a nice slate. Starting a little earlier than normal, the 6:35 start Eastern Standard. Slightly earlier than the normal lock, but fun slate nonetheless. John, seven. How many games do you have? 8. So 6 of the 8 games starting at 7:40. Just 2 games, 2 hours later. This is like NBA all over again. Like 8 o'clock starts and then 10 o'clock starts for the last their late night hammer. So yeah, interesting little slate. Little weather on the East Coast. We
It's maybe
have
almost a washout this weekend. The rain is all coming up right now. So
right. Yeah, some interesting pitchers priced in spots probably we're not used to seeing. Some pitchers returning from injury, mainly Tony Gonsolin making his debut. It's not expected to be a long one, but Tony Gonsolin not in it for a long time, just good time there, John.
yep.
But let's look at Vegas, right? Let's look at what we got going on over there. There aren't many massive favorites. Patrick Sandoval and the Los Angeles Angels minus 245 on the money line, taking on Oakland in Los Angeles. That is the biggest favorite on the board. The Mets and Kodai Senga minus 200 on the money line against the Washington Nationals, despite the Nationals kicking their butts on Tuesday night. So those are really the only 2 notable favorites. Bryce Elder and the Braves minus 150. Kind of surprising, but it's kind of what we've seen because Sandy Alcantara has been weirdly bad.
He's had
Question
some
mark.
good starts, but he's had a run of bad starts.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the one blow up was just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean Alcantara being a plus 130 underdog is very interesting to see, but that's kind of what we have on the slate in terms of run total. We don't have Arizona to fall back on here, John. That's a day game. There is only one game currently with 9 implied runs, and that is Oakland and LA. That is it. Every other game is between 8 and 8.5. So we'll, recording here. We're going to go live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard on the Better Sports Network. Maybe something will change by then, but nothing really stands out in terms of Vegas right now. Just 2 favorites bigger than 150 and only one game over 9 implied runs.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting slate, as we mentioned here. Some decent pitchers, some guys, again, we're not used to seeing price where they're at. We'll start off. Kodai Senga here, a pretty interesting start to his career. Faced Miami back-to-back games, looked pretty good. Went into Oakland, got lit up. Went into San Francisco, got lit up. The one thing we were worried about with him had been the walks. That continues to be an issue for him now. We're looking at 14 walks over the last 4 starts to begin his MLB career. Going up against Washington, obviously it's another sort of favorable matchup for him. But if he's going to be wild like this at the major league level, you're going to eventually give up runs and not meet the value. At 10-6, he's coming off back-to-back games, scoring 9.9 DraftKings points exactly. Matchup aside, I don't know, man. It feels like the shine is wearing off a little bit here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 10-6 is not just a price we can just comfortably get to. Not one I want to really get to.
Like DeGrom, right? Who should be 10-6,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, you look at this top tier, and I am fine with Bryce Elder being priced the way he has,
Mm-hmm.
the way he is, based on how he's pitched. And I'm fine with Taiwan Walker being priced the way he is because lack of pitching depth and whatever. And I'm fine with Logan Gilbert and Hunter Brown but like I would rather just take a shot on Alcantara at 99 than pay 10-6 for Kodai Senga. Like
Yeah, I agree with you.
reigning Cy Young coming off, yeah, bad starts, plural, but he still had 9 strikeouts in that Arizona
Yeah, I was
game.
gonna say, I mean, I wouldn't even really call the Arizona game a bad start per se. I mean, yes, 5 runs, only 3 of them were earned, 9 strikeouts. They pulled him after 82 pitches, which you never really see
Right.
for him there. It was just that they were down 5-0. Only 6 innings, 82 pitches. Like he probably could have thrown a complete game there. He would have just gotten the loss. So again, 21 fantasy points in a losing effort. That's pretty strong for him. The Philly game was just a blow up for him.
Yep.
I don't love going Atlanta. I'm not saying you do either, but I agree with you. Like I'd rather take my shot on Alcantara over Senga. Bryce Elder to me is obviously going to be, I think, the top play of that range, just because we've seen these Atlanta pitchers dominate Miami so far. Charlie Morton's doing it tonight. Spencer Strider did it 2 nights ago. Bryce Elder's looked really good so far to begin, this season here for them. 3 starts where he hasn't even allowed an earned run of the 4. So to me, it feels like everyone's just going to jump on the Elder train.
Yeah, I mean, as they probably should, just based on how good he's been and how bad Miami's been. And, again, like Charlie Morton and Spencer Strider are not Bryce Elder, but Bryce Elder has pitched as good or better than both of them. So,
Yeah, the strikeout ceiling probably isn't as high, but
right,
again, it's hard to argue 3 shutout performances out of the 4.
right. So, nothing really to dislike about Elder here. I'd I'd only rank him higher than Alcantara. I don't know if I can. I
Okay.
still don't know if I can get there because I have more faith in a larger sample size of in Alcantara than we do of Bryce Elder, which is essentially 4 starts this year.
Sure. That's fair. If we go down a little bit into that next tier of guys, you mentioned Taiwan Walker's there, Logan Gilbert, Hunter Brown, your bottom 9K range here. Gilbert, had his start pulled back, it's saying, due to back spasms. Don't really love that.
Yeah.
Those things can always pop back up while you're pitching. Probably we'll see most people shy away. Again, this is also the matchup Walker Gilbert that has the potential for rain impacting. Now, looking at the hourly forecast, it doesn't say it's going to be like thunderstorms or anything like that. It just says showers. So it could maybe cause a delay to start, maybe an in-game delay if it picks up a little bit. So something to at least be wary when it comes to Walker and Gilbert. And then Hunter Brown, faces Tampa Bay here. Hasn't really been an easy matchup for many. So while Brown has looked good and these pitchers have pitched well, it's Sandy and Elder for me, and then I look all the way down.
I like Logan Gilbert if the rain doesn't play much of a factor. Like
A guy that's
Philly,
having back problems and then it's gonna be like rainy-ish weather. I don't know.
that's fair. I don't like the back problems were Sunday, right? So he's had Monday, Tuesday to recover,
Right.
and I don't know. I'd feel okay about it as long as we heard like pregame there was nothing else going on with it. Like if he's cleared to pitch, I feel like I'm fine with using him. Philly's offense has been decent against righties. I mean, pretty good, 804 OPS, but 25% strikeout rate is pretty appealing. So tournaments only due to the injury re-aggravation plus strikeout upside, but Philly's offense can thump.
Yep, they certainly can. Um, Mid-tier range here. Desclafani gets St. Louis. Waka got roughed up in his last outing. He's got Chicago. Mackenzie Gore, who's someone that you and I talk a lot about. We like him. Tough matchup against the Mets in New York, but $7,500 for him there. Drew Smiley gets San Diego. We know what happened in his most recent start. Nearly perfect, 7 2/3. Had a weak little ground ball to the third base side. The catcher just plowed him over. Loses it there with 10 Ks in that matchup. What are your thoughts on the 7K range?
Um, I like Mackenzie Gore. I just think this is a very tough spot for him. Um, but like he had a very tough spot to start the year in home and against Atlanta, passed that with flying colors. Then went to Coors, passed that with flying colors. Then he traveled to LA. Mackenzie Gore's been pretty good
Yeah,
every start he's made. That Angel start, he just got snake bit by walks, which I think becomes a problem here against the Mets because the Mets are one of the best teams at walking in the league against lefties. They are ninth in walk rate, which obviously, Mackenzie Gore has 3 games with 4 walks. So that's a
right.
little concerning. I kind of like Drew Smiley here coming off the near perfecto. San Diego hasn't been impressive.
No.
So we'll see what the wind situation is, but it was cold on Tuesday. If it's going to be cold again in Chicago, yeah, I mean, I see FanDuel. FanDuel is the only sports book that I see with this line. I'm going to refresh right now. I guess more sports books have put out a line, and it is now only FanDuel has a run line eight over under. Like if that before Tuesday, if you remember, that crept down to 7.5 for the Blake
Right.
Snell, and if that happens again, like we could just be in another situation where pitchers reign supreme because it's cold and hard to hit in Wrigley when it's cold. So I like Drew Smiley here. And I think Sandoval is probably the chalk pitcher of the slate because he gets
Matchup against
Oakland.
Oakland. Yeah.
He is the big favorite. He is coming off a really bad start, and you and I have talked about it the last couple nights. Like Oakland can hit lefties. They do have some guys. Jesus Aguilar has 3 home runs against lefties in the last few
Rooker.
games. Rooker double donged. They do have some guys that can thump, but I do think Sandoval being one of 2 minus 200 favorites on the money line here, and just Oakland's overall reputation just suggests Sandoval would be popular.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, it doesn't get much better basically out after him. I mean, you mentioned Gonsolin's got to be an opener. Matt's against the Giants. We do talk how good lefties have been against the Giants this year, but are you taking a stab on Steven Matz?
Maybe I've played him once this year, and it didn't go terribly. Where did I start him? I played him in the Seattle game, I think, or did I play him in Pittsburgh? I played him in one of these 2 games. He's okay. I thought he would be better pitching in their ballpark, and he just hasn't been. But he does have a good hitting and good pitching environment in San Francisco. And you mentioned it, like the Giants are very bad against lefties. 30% strikeout rate, less than a 600 OPS, 29th in the league. So, yeah, I think I can get to some Steven Matz. I could be talked into it.
Okay. We move ourselves on over to the catcher position here. A lot of options, obviously, here on a big slate like this. We don't generally look to spend up. If we go down into the mid tier, where are you? Who are you targeting here? I mean, we don't have our usual go tos. It feels like on this slate for some value again with the split slate. So, what's your thoughts on the catcher spot?
My thoughts on the catcher spot are
Again,
um,
our usual go-tos, Moreno and our Yan Gomes or the Contreras, they're not, Wilson's here against Esclafani,
yeah.
but that's like, hey, Christian Betancourt is $3,900.
Yeah, I don't love
Um,
this tier.
yeah, no, it is. It's a tough catcher position here.
So I think Langoliers is fine if you're not playing Sandoval. Lefty righty spot. Langoliers has a lot of power. Chad Wallach, if he's in the lineup, he's homered in 2 straight games, or homered in 2 straight games heading into Tuesday night. Young Gomes is against a righty. Yes, but that righty has been really bad in 2 straight starts, and
Mhm.
Jan Gomes did homer on Tuesday, had multi hits in that game. So if you wanted to go Jan Gomes, I think that's fine. Francisco Alvarez gets the lefty. Let's see if he's in the lineup. How about Kybert Ruiz? Homered on Tuesday. I don't know really if Kodai Senga is giving us any reason not to play guys against him.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's Washington, so like naturally we're just not going to. But homered on Tuesday, hitting over 300 his last 10 games. I don't dislike the price, like the discount on Kyber Ruiz.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Um, and it's a punt spot, so like if it doesn't
And it's a
work
fun
out,
spot. Yep.
it doesn't really work out there. All right, let's go to first base, where there's at least some exciting players to discuss here.
Lefties, well, just to
Go
touch
for it.
on,
Yeah.
just flip back to another reason why I would like Kybert. Lefties against Kodai Senga, 286 average, 960 OPS, 418 WOBA.
Okay.
So righties hitting 178 against them, lefties hitting 286. There's a 300 percentage point difference in OPS and 250 point difference in WOBA from righty to lefty. So
Okay. What's Kybert's strong side?
Kybert is hitting 292 from the left side this year.
Okay, so that all works out for him then. First base position here. Again, you got Otani, Goldschmidt, Alonso, Olson. So you kind of get your gauntlet of top guys here. Uh, Alonso maybe seemingly in the best spot, going up against a lefty with some control problems. Obviously, you have Otani at 6,400 there. You can get to as well.
Yeah, Medina making his debut here looks pretty good statistically. Like last year, he has massive strikeout appeal. Didn't allow a lot in terms of splits this year. Righties are like the only batters doing anything against him, but it's not even. I mean, 3 hits and 13 at bats at AAA. So, um, Otani's fine. Goldie's fine. Alonso is probably the top dog here, but I could definitely be sold on Freddie Freeman 5,100 against Ronzi Contreras. As much as we
Yeah,
like Ronzi Contreras, um, I don't love Ronzi Contreras in a spot against the Dodgers.
right. Yep, I would agree with you. I mean, we saw Oviedo pitch well for a bit today, and then obviously he ended up getting gotten to. So some of these Pirates guys have good spells, and then they kind of have the wagon kind of pulled out from under them there for a little bit. Other guys here in the mid tier, I mean, Nelson Cruz does get a lefty. I know Smiley's pitched really well. Um, Again, like it gets kind of gross quick. Jose Abreu had an RBI today. He's $3,500. Wilmer Flores gets a lefty, and Matt's at 33. But we've talked about lefties against them. If you're not going Sandoval, Aguilar's there at 27. I mean, I don't know if you're not spending up. The mid tier and value doesn't look all that great.
Um, yeah. Ty France is good against righties. I like him 4,700. I finally like that price. I don't dislike Connor Joe and what he's been doing at the plate, going up against Gonsolin, making his debut.
Sure.
Um,
But for how long, right? Then they go bullpen game.
and then
So
they go bullpen. I think he's expected to throw 4 innings from what I read on Tuesday. Brennan Donovan, first base eligible. He's been pretty good again for the Cardinals, hitting over 300 his last 10 games. But yeah, I mean it's a lackluster position. I'm okay going Wilmer at 3,300 if you're not playing Mats. I'm also okay playing Aguilar. We talked about the power
sure.
recently. It's been fully on display. That's probably
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Second base position here. Mookie Betts is your second base outfielder at 52. Brendan Lau, 5K. Our guy Estrada at $4,900. Albies, 45. Nolan Gorman at 44. Nico Horner with a big price drop, 51 to 42. Feels like we're going to be maybe keying in on that play, given the state of the second base so far.
Yeah, second base goat Mookie Betts. Definitely welcome back there, Mookie.
Right.
Welcome back to second, even though you played a couple games at short. Yeah, I like Mookie. Brandon Lau is fine. I think he's slowed down after that torrid start. That was shot of righty lefty matchups. Probably leads off here. That's nice. I like Discofani, so like if you want to play Gorman in a tournament, I think that's fine. But yeah, I think all roads lead to Nico Horner, righty on the mound, so that means stolen
Stolen
base
bases, yeah.
appeal. He's flashed a little power. Not that I like think that can be something we rely upon at all, but at least we know it could be there.
All right.
If we it's not the most shocking thing in the world. And yeah, the price 4,200. I'm not totally sure because Michael Waka has been very very bad.
Yep. Yep. I agree with you. Bryson Stott against Gilbert. You like Gilbert, and Horner's $100 more, so probably more leaning in that direction. Dubon's a guy that we talk about like every slate gets a hit. Just gets a hit. $3,400. Gonna get a hit. Gonna score a run most likely. Pay off that price tag. I certainly don't hate that. Don't mind Colton Wong at 33. Aledmys
He's been
Diaz
so bad.
is always hit lefties pretty well. I know we like Sandoval here, but could be a spot for him. John Birdie gets second base and shortstop eligibility. He's $2,900. Not a bad spot for him there either.
Yep. Birdie's fine because he gets on and he can steal you a base and you get 10 fantasy points if he scores a run, right? It's like
Yep.
instant, just double digit fantasy points. I don't hate Luis Garcia. Lefties against Kodai Senga seem to be the recipe for success. I mentioned Jonathan Diaz probably hits second here for Oakland with a lefty on the mound. And that's probably it. But there's some actually decent punts down here at second base. I don't, not the worst position we've
Sure.
had.
Third base, as we talk about it, generally our spend up spot. Muncie's out with the paternity leave. Nolan Arenado, Austin Riley, Manny Machado, Alex Bregman lead the way here.
I don't love them at all. Like I like the matchup from a righty lefty sense for Machado probably the most. Who's relieving? Josh Fleming is pitching in long relief, right? That's I want to look up Fleming's stats because he's been he's been very mediocre. Let's see. Righties are torching Fleming this year. Very small sample, but let's look at last year. Oh, righties torched Fleming last year too. I'm gonna say Bregman is my favorite third baseman at this tier.
Okay, I don't mind it. Certainly can get behind that there. And if that's the case with Fleming, then it kind of opens the door for some of these other guys here as well for Houston's lineup that hits them decently. We talked about Walker's struggles. Wisdom has the power in that spot for sure. JD Davis historically has hit lefties well. Righties better this year at $4,100. Anybody else for you? Any value guys down here stick out?
If Taylor Walls cracks the lineup, he's been amazing, but he has not been playing every day. He's barely been playing, in fact. Don't hate Taylor Walls. Eduardo Escobar should be in the lineup, but he's been terrible if you want to go there. Last game he played, he had a home run, so take that for what it's worth. No. The answer is no.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not a strong hitter pool. So
Heimer Candelario stack against Kodai Senga. Like that's
shortstop's got Trey Turner, Wander Franco, Xander Bogaerts is your top group there. Xander against the lefties, decent. Wander's cooled off a bit. Still can give you some stolen bases. Hasn't had any power. We know what Trey Turner can do, but he paying $6,100 for that.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Mid tier is not great. I mean, geesh.
Lindor.
I guess it's Lindor, right? Lindor versus Gore, probably the spot we're going to look at here.
Yeah, Lindor's good track record against lefties. Jeremy Pena's, I think, really appealing, and he's just been stealing a lot of bases lately. 5 stolen bases over his last 10 games. He had 3 in a game, 2 home runs over his last 5. So I think Lindor for me. We obviously talked about Thairo Estrada. You could play him here, but I think Jeremy Pena stands out to me as like the next guy I would get to,
Yeah.
and then I don't really know where I would go because it's just another position that just nosedives off a cliff.
Yep, I agree with you 1,000%. It just kind of dumps. I don't know where I'd go. Maybe you get some information on starting lineups. Someone might pop a little bit. I mean, CJ Abrams is a lefty versus Senga, $2,500, right? Just like it's straight punt play.
Yep.
So outfield here. Guys at the top, we talk about Ronald Acuna had a double, hit a solo base, scored a run. He had 12 fantasy points within the first like 4 pitches of the game. As a lead as they come here, Trout, Rodriguez, Tucker. There's a lot of top talent here in the 5K range if you're spending for it.
Which is a big surprise.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can get to Acuna if you want. It'll be contrarian with Alcantara on the mound. I think Otani profiles fine against Medina. I probably can't. Probably can't get to Randy. Trout's fine. J Rod's fine. Tucker is fine. I don't love this tier. I would say like the next 5K. I don't know. I don't love. I think you can play any of these guys, but no one stands out
Well,
to
that's how
me.
I feel, right? No one's really standing out. It feels like maybe the Mets against Gore are just going to be like a stack by default. Marte,
Yeah, probably.
Lindor, Alonso. Cubs, same way. I think we can stack against Waka here. Waka's been good at times, but Seiya, Hap, Horner, guys like that, we can certainly kind of like throw into the lineup here. I think in this spot for against the Padres. Moving down a little bit into this sort of mid-tier range. A lot of guys out, a lot of guys injured. Outman for the
For
Dodgers looking
sure.
really good.
Yep.
He's only $4,000.
Yeah, lefty's killing Ronesy.
Yeah,
Killing Ronesy.
Kalnick homered again tonight,
Yep.
$3,900. Certainly can
Monster.
find himself.
Literal
Uh,
monster.
yeah, Haniger against a lefty and Mats will probably like it, $3,900.
Yep.
Burleson, Rooker. Any other guys down here in this like outfield range for you?
Tommy Pham's in the lineup against Mackenzie Gore. I think that's fine.
Sawinski against a righty, probably.
Lewinsky, yep. Can't go the Braves value. Corey Julks is someone I would have interest in. He stole a base on Tuesday. He's been really good for the Astros if he cracks the lineup. Power speed combination from Julks, and he'll continue to play. And Fleming stunk. I actually really like the Astros here.
Yeah.
Jake Myers, someone we like
Yeah,
playing against lefties as well.
sure. So that's the outfield. Let's get into a lineup build here, James. We like Elder 94. We think, right?
I mean, I told you I like Alcantara better, but
Okay.
if you want to play Elder, that's fine.
I feel like Elder just for the savings is better. Do we have a value Sandoval?
It was Sandoval, Smiley, or Mats.
Yeah, I think Sandoval versus Oakland will just get us the best opportunity for money. Catcher here, Kybert, you liked.
Kybert, yep.
First base, 4,400 to play, by the way.
Freeman, Alonso, probably for
Let's see
us.
if we can do a Met stack like we mentioned. Alonso, Lindor. So 41-40 a play. We liked Horner at second base at 42. Third base, who's Bregman you liked?
Bregman.
4K outfielders, 3 outfielders.
Play Julks from Houston as our value.
4,600 for 2 outfielders. Do you want to do Marte?
Starling Marte, yep.
And then a $4,200 outfielder here. Outman.
Yep.
There it is. That's the lineup, everybody. We got 8 games here on the main slate. We'll be in the Discord for the early slate as well. Good luck to everybody there. We will catch you.